Hello, everyone. Adam, I think we can start. We can see guests are signing in. So maybe you can tell us from where are you joining from? Okay. So hello, everyone. Welcome to the presentation about real-time intelligence in Microsoft Fabric. Today, we will walk you through elements of Fabric. How do you implement real-time? What does it mean, real-time in Fabric? And hopefully, after this presentation, you will be able to try a little bit on your own with those features in Azure and maybe build a real-time dashboard on your own. All right, then, let's start with the presentation. Throughout the presentation, you can ask questions. We'll be looking on a chat from time to time to answer your questions. And I think we can begin. So I'll start with sharing my screen. Okay, here it is. All right. So maybe before we even begin with a short presentation of our company, let's begin with ourselves. Maybe I'll begin. My name is Błażej Latocha. I'm a data architect in Data. I work mostly on data engineering work streams here in Data. Because we are a Microsoft partner, we utilize mostly Microsoft tools like Fabric lately, but also Azure tools that are used to data processing. Adam?
Hey, so this is Adam, and I'm BI implementation manager here in Data. So I have like 6 years of experience in Power BI. Now I am really focused on learning and developing solutions in Fabric. We are delivering end-to-end solutions within the Fabric environment for our clients, and this is the my main focus area now. So here in Data, we have a really tight schedule, I would say, so I want to be really quick. But as Data, we deliver end-to-end solutions for the business. So we work of course, within the Microsoft stack. We develop solutions in Power BI, but also other Power Platform tools like Power Automate and Power Apps. And we have good understanding and expertise in creating backend solutions. So we work as an end-to-end provider. So usually we create solutions for the backend, and then our developers also work on the front end. And what is more, we train our customers on fundamentals and advanced levels. So we train how to work and develop within Power BI desktop. We also work in the field of IoT. So we are creating solutions for supply chain, where you can, for example, have live OEE data, so overall equipment effectiveness data from your floor and your plant, and you can see how the OEE works.
All right, let's start with a presentation then. Before we even begin, I'd like to mention that part of this POC case study was prepared by our colleague Mauricy, who is not with us, but he had a huge part with delivering this. So a huge thank you for him. So let's start with a definition of a real time, because it can mean different things for different people. But in general, real time in data processing refers to the ability of a system to process and analyze data as it generated without any significant delay. So it can be consumed almost instantly, allowing for immediate insights, responses, actions based on almost live data. But does a real-time data processing exist? Technically, no, because no system can process data simultaneously. There's always some kind of delay, even a tiny one, in microseconds or nanoseconds. This is due to different limitations like hardware, network latency, or time that it takes to execute a code. But in general, when we talk about real-time dashboard, we talk about three things like continuous input, because data from sensors or logs from systems comes right away. There's a constant flow of data. There's low latency. We want to achieve data in a system as fast as possible. And also the third factor, immediate output. We want to look into data, but also process and transform it as quickly as possible to transform it into actionable items like dashboards or alerts. All right, then. So how is real-time analysis leveraged in Fabric? As you probably know, there are 8 foundations of Fabric, but one of them is real-time intelligence. This block, this foundation, this pillar contains many different services to handle live or real-time or near real-time data. But two the most important ones that for me as a data engineer are event stream and event house. I will be talking mostly about them, but there are also others, like for example, real-time dashboards or Power BI, and more about it you will hear from Adam. And in terms of latency, because we discussed this is a very important feature of real-time intelligence system. The latency in Fabric is from a few hundred milliseconds to up to a few seconds. So it allows us to ingest data almost right away. Okay, and let's go to the case study. It will be easier to get more familiar with the whole system. So let's say there is a logistic company, and there's a manager who owns a fleet of trucks that transport goods all over the Europe. Because there is a very limited shelf life, he needs information about delivery time and potential breakdowns right away. So he needs a reporting system that will deliver live dashboards or alerts that inform him about what's going on with particular trucks. To deliver this solution, we will use Fabric to build end-to-end pipeline and informs the manager about current status. In our graph, we can see trucks that deliver data into IoT system, and then data from IoT system goes into Fabric. In our case, IoT system will be mocked by a Python code. Okay, so maybe before we start discussing pipeline, let me turn off the simulation so data already will be gathering in the backend. Okay, let me confirm it's working. Oh, it doesn't want to start. Let's try again. Okay. Okay, there it is. It's running. So let me go back to the presentation. And what we can see on the screen right now is a standard flow. It comes directly from a Microsoft web page, and it shows a standard flow of real-time data processing. Here we can see the services I mentioned earlier, Event Stream and Event House. Maybe let me select the pointer. Event House is a service that is responsible for storing data. It's similar to the Lakehouse that you may be already familiar with from Fabric. And there is also Event Stream. It ingests data, and if that's required, it can also transform data. Because of its capability to transform data, it may be used to transform, to send data between layers, like silver and gold. But also there is another option that we will discuss during this POC as well, update policy, that we will cover shortly. As you can see, this data pipeline follows a regular medallion architecture with bronze layer where raw data comes first, and then it's enriched, goes into silver, and eventually data ends up in gold layer, transformed and ready to be consumed by either Power BI dashboards or real-time dashboards. Additionally, data from event houses may be mirrored into OneLakes. All right, let's discuss event houses a little bit, event streams a little bit more. If you already have an experience with real-time data processing, event stream resembles message broker, like for example Kafka or RabbitMQ. On the left-hand side, we can see potential sources that can go into event stream. Like I mentioned, event stream is responsible for ingesting data from different systems, so you can play with them in Fabric. So as an output here, we have a event house that is responsible for storing data. There are also many other sources available here. I listed those the more popular, the most popular ones. You can also leverage change data capture features if that's supported by Fabric. It's here. It's supported for Azure SQL database. Okay, but let's go into Fabric and see how a service like this is deployed. Let me change the screen. Okay. All right, here I have prepared a test. Sorry, not here. The one event stream you create just by clicking on a create button, and it looks just like this. And right away you have 3 available sources. In our case study, we will be using a custom endpoint. because it's the most generic one and available for multiple scenarios. So whenever you create one, you need to provide a name, and it opens a sample sample workflow. There are also those three elements. Here is source, here is preview of data, and here is our target. Additionally, you can also apply transformations. We previewed this pipeline earlier, so we don't need to take much time to during the presentation. So this is how it looks like when it's ready. The pipeline is already active, it's already published. This part consumes data from our Python script. Here we have credentials of the connections. If you want to, we can share with you after the presentation the Python scripts and an instruction how to connect it. Here we have preview of our live data that is being generated. We need to wait a little bit more for preview. Okay, we'll be back here. Oh no, here it is. So it's just a table with events from tracks. Here we applied a transformation. A great thing about this tool is that it's low code or even no code. So we can build a real-time dashboard without any coding skills. Everything is you can click through GUI. And at the end of the pipeline, we have this last tile that consumes data from the pipeline and pushes it into our bronze layer. So raw unmodified data goes there. We only change column names. So let's go maybe to the event house that is responsible for storing data. Is that here it is? Okay, once you open an event house, you can see basic statistics for all your databases. We have already created one for this demo. So once again, you have statistics specific to our case. So we have information about all the tables are currently stored in the event house database. And here's our table. Again, here we have ingestion information, rate, and information about latency, and of course preview of the data. Once we have data in bronze layer, we want to advance it into silver layer. We can do that again using event stream, which is no code option. But we have here also update policies. So let me present it here on the screen. What are update policies? We can use KQL, which is a language used in event house for managing data, transforming it. And of course, to send data between tables. So to create a update policy, we need a function first. This function, transform raw data, changes data types of specific columns. So we have a column like latitude. We want to change its type to decimal. So we use toDecimal function, and we take as an argument latitude from bronze. And whenever this function is ready, we need to create an update policy. And that tells event house how this function should be used within the event house. So we provide the function name, we specify that it's enabled. We do not apply here is transactional flag, because this option would be only used in production environment when we need to provide consistency between source and target. As an output, when we apply this function as an output, we have this table here in the silver layer. There is one more step in data processing. We need to enrich data and display it in Gulf layer. For this, we can leverage materialized views, which are also created using KQL. Again, we could still go with an event house and do this and perform this operation without any code. But in this option, we use summarize function to get the latest date stamp. So we display in the real-time dashboard, we display only the latest data, and this is what is called a materialized view. Let's go back to the report. How is it? Yeah, this is, we have just saw the definition of the view, and here is the view itself, and it will be used by Adam in the Power BI. So Adam, would you like to take over from here?
Share my screen. I will bring you with me to Power BI desktop. So I will show you everything from the Power BI developer perspective. How do we start with the Power BI desktop? How do we connect to this data, the KQL data? And then how do we move it to Power BI service? What we need to understand and what we need to remember. And then we will be going with the real-time dashboard, which is also a really interesting tool. So let's start with the Power BI dashboard. Okay, you can just tell me whether you can see it.
Yep.
Okay, I think my screen can be seen. Okay, so to get you on board. So our idea and our use our demo is about tracks, right? You will see that we have 5 tracks, which can be distinguished by number plates, plate numbers, as you can see here, and they are riding and driving across the Europe. In general, we are showing a presentation of one full day of driving. So it would be from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m., 6 p.m., sorry, but we scaled it, right? So our whole process, so how our data is created, takes 15 minutes. So you can see, as Błażej mentioned before during his part, he started the script, right? So we can see here that the latest data received here is 7:12, right? And our report is set to refresh every 10 seconds. You can see that this part is being updated. And this is the first part, which is really important, which you need to remember when you are creating this kind of report with direct query and live data. You need to set it up properly. So you need to go to the page refresh area here. You need to make it on, and then you can set it up here, right? So you'll select, for example, 10 seconds. This is important to remember that for the Power BI Pro license, when you will be moving this report into Power BI service, you can get down to 30 minutes. It is the closest you can get. So in general, in order to get the near real-time information, you would need to go with the premium per user capacity, right? Or premium. So then you are able to go even to the 1 second, right? So then you are really near real time. So how do we get to this view? We can get data from KQL database, as Błażej also showed us before. We go to the get data, we go to the more, and we seek for the Microsoft Fabric area here. You can see that here we can select KQL database, we click connect, and then when you have proper access, then you should be able to access the specific database, right? Then you just simply click connect, and you are able to access all layers, which Błażej explained. So we have some tables from the bronze layer, we have some tables from silver, and also materials views and gold layer, right? We can see now that our specific track, let's maybe click one of the tracks so we can zoom in and see how it goes, right? I will maybe even get down. I think Błażej, our script will run off soon, so we can set it up once again, and we will show you from the beginning how it goes. Because exactly our first script is over.
Okay, let me watch it once again. And here it runs.
I will simply refresh. As you can see, new entity appeared, and I will just show you the new script which is running. So we start once again from the 7 a.m. And as you can see, we are zoomed into our Volvo track with display specific plate number. You can see details here. What is the fuel capacity? What is distance to covered already? Distance to cover, distance left, and for example, average velocity, right? So it is calculated on dynamically. You will see that new dots are appearing. We can see where our track is in the current situation. And then you can see that our estimated delivery time also updates, right, based on the average velocity, the total distance to cover. You can then play with your Power BI and prepare, for example, this kind of data, right? We have the hover over here where you can see what is the fuel capacity of this specific track. We can see additional details about velocity, estimated delivery time, etc. Right? So let me just get one dot, let it load. Oh. Usually it should be instant. Yes, right. So we have a simple track which shows what is the fuel capacity, what is the to target destination, etc. So this would be from the Power BI desktop, right? When we get to the Power BI service, let me move to the Power BI service now. Here we are. In Power BI service, we can set this specific report and we just publish it to the workspace, and then we share it via application, right? So we'll be using Power BI apps. I'll give it a second. I think it froze. Yeah. Let me refresh. I think it just froze just in time. Okay, and there we have the same report. The similar setup is required. As I mentioned, the licensing is so for the Power BI Pro, you are able to refresh your data every 30 minutes. So it won't give you this near real-time experience. But if you go to the premium per user or premium capacity, you are able to get down up to up to 1 second. But what is really near real time, and even we called it real time dashboard, as you can see here, you can set a new entity within Microsoft Fabric, which is called exactly real time dashboard. And this looks as here. Let it load for a second. Some of you who were working with the dashboards itself might recognize these tiles, right? So these are the standard dashboards, but I would say much more powerful. So Microsoft Fabric comes to us with this approach. You can see that here you are able to prepare a tile. As you can see, this is a tile. You can create this kind of tile in the editing view, right? So now I am in the editing view, and here you can design your dashboard, right? You can select new tile, for example, and here, which I will get to this in a second, your tile needs to be powered by the KQL query, which I will show you how to prepare it. So in our report, we have the tile, which is map. Let's get into it. I will show you how to edit it. So this is our tile. First of all, we need to specify a KQL query, right? So what I did in our scenario, as you saw, we are running multiple scripts, right? So our interval is 15 minutes. So what I made sure we have always access to the latest simulation, right? So here we have the maximum for simulation start time, and we have it inside the summarize function. What is more, we are having track ID parameter. This is something which is really important to understand when working with these real-time dashboards, because these are tiles. So in order to feel like you are able to filter something or dynamically change, right? For example, we want to select a specific track. So let me show you how this looks like as the final touch, I would say. And in a second, we will design it together. So here you can see on top that we have parameters. So track ID. So we have every single track now, right? This is similar as a slicer or anything known from the Power BI. But then I can select, for example, one of the IDs, the 11th. And our tile should be adjusted to the 11th. As you can see, now we are tracking the one of our tracks in Poland, which is going from Gdańsk. Our refresh rate here, I can maybe change it from auto center, so then we can easily zoom in. And now you can see that our tile is in the mode which is constant. So it always checks whether new data appeared, and it refreshes it. So as you can see, our dots are appearing really fast. So we can see how our track is progressing, right? So in order to get it, once again, every tile is designed separately. So once again, we'll go to the edit. And here we have the visual formatting. You need to get used to it, because here you have many visual types. You will see that you have standard charts, which we like, of course, like pie charts, maps, and others. And then there's just some testing by yourself, how to properly set it up, right? So for example, in order to get a proper map, you need to decide how the position on the map will be retrieved. So in our scenario, we work on the latitude and longitude, right? So then you define location by this. You select specific column, and this is really important. So for this connection, we need to make sure that, for example, latitude and longitude is casted to decimals, right? So as you can see here, we have decimals, and this is the intended behavior.
Adam,
when we have it,
just a little reminder that we are 10 minutes before the end of the presentation, and we need to answer questions. So I kindly ask you to wrap up.
Okay, so last thing, which is really important. So here you can also check in documentation for further ideas, but in general, you design KQL query. It has some similarities with SQL, of course, but the important part is this parameter. So let me just show you quickly how do you do the parameter. You can go to the parameter here in the top left corner, and you can modify specific one. So I will be modifying this track ID parameter. You just click here, and then you need to specify the label, whether this is single select, multiple selection, maybe this is time range. You have also a few options here. Then you can specify the name of the variable. The important piece is what it will be the data type. So you need to match the data type here with the expected data type of the column, which will be filtering our report. And then you can see here that you can either do none data source. So then you will specify it yourself. So you will just write simply one option and second option. It is kind of like in Power BI, you would do the enter data, right? You by yourself specify those parameters. But also you can go with the specific source and do the query. As you will see here, I can edit this query. And then, for example, I wanted to filter by tracks, but by track IDs. So then once again, I did the KQL query from our tracks and rich data, some from our silver, and I selected unique tracks, right? And then we have the unique tracks. Then you need to just map what is the value column that this parameter should filter the track ID. When the parameter is done, we can just close it. And then you use this parameter as an input for your KQL query in, for example, map as here, right? So you can see that if nothing is selected or specific track is selected in this group, so user input is crucial, the map will be filtered for this, right? So this is general idea here.
All right, thank you very much, Adam, for showing us Power BI real-time capabilities, and maybe let's answer some questions. Okay, there was a one about license. It allows to refresh that data live. All right, so Microsoft Fabric recommends to start working with real-time features from F4 SKU. So below that, there might be some performance issue, but of course, if you are up to F64 SKU, you need either Pro or premium per user license to display reports. Above that level, F64 is sufficient to both create reports and consume them by all users. And
from the Power BI perspective, I think I briefly mentioned this, but Power BI Pro will not give you a really near real-time experience, right? So it will allow you to go down to 30 minutes in terms of auto refresh of the Power BI, because this is crucial that in direct query mode you would be able to retrieve information real time, but to give this feeling for the user, user cannot refresh the report himself, right? Or because it needs to be auto refresh for this feeling. So then, in order to go down to even 1 second, you need the Fabric and premium per user capacity, one of those.
Right. The next question was the difference between view and a table. The most basic difference is that in table we do not store data, and in the graph in the workflow medallion architecture we shared before, silver layer and gold layer are both made with materialized views because it's a common case with real-time dashboards that we do not want to then in a gold layer, in a layer that prevents that shows analytical view, we just show aggregates of data that changes constantly. So, for example, status of those tracks are changing, the velocity, the fuel level, for example, and we just display those changes from the core table, for example, raw bronze table, without storing those changes. We just display them using a different set of transformations. But we do not do but we don't want to store every output from those transformations, because we would get a lot of data in those tables. How the client provides the data to data source? Something like that. Well, it really depends on your case, because Fabric starts to work if you have data. You just have this capability to consume real-time data, but you have to have something that generates it. For example, an IoT system that sends data from different trucks, or maybe equipment on the production line, into Fabric endpoint, and Fabric takes over from there, and it starts to analyze data. It stores data and shows it as, for example, real-time dashboard that Adam presented.
Yes, maybe I will pick the second question. So does Fabric allow one to do data modeling? So this is, I think, quite a wide question, but from the user perspective, Fabric, of course, allows it, right? So one of the possibilities which Fabric brings is direct lake model, right? So you can create semantic models, and they, of course, allow you to build a model, as we know from the Power BI desktop. But then also it allows to connect to the lakehouse directly. So even in our scenario, maybe I can quickly share my screen once again for just a minute. I can show you that even though I connected to Fabric, the piece of Fabric, which is a KQL database, but you can see that I could easily, even in this direct query mode, make some connections here, right? So what I took is the vehicles clean data, which would be our master data. We have one of the views, which is last track information, right? This is the table which stores the latest available information about our trucks, but also trucks clean data, which is our silver layer table, which contains the history of every place where our truck sent our GPS information, right? Okay. I don't know if this answers the questions.
And what's more, if you you can also use joins in event stream. So if you want to join data in Fly, you can also use that capability with an event stream. And okay, why use materialize use? Yeah, I think we answered this, explaining the difference between view and table. So basically, we do not store the same data in each layer, because it's mostly the same data sets. All right, any other questions? Via email, yeah. So there is a activator. There's a feature in Fabric called data activator. So whenever you when you can specify an alert based on data, like data hits specific thresholds, it triggers an alarm or email notification, and after that, of course, the email is sent to your email account.
Yes, but I think briefly we also showed this possibility with this real-time dashboard, right? So whenever data gets into Fabric, by the process which Błażej described, you can create this real-time dashboard, which I showed previously with this map, right? And you could see that as long as the GPS data is transferred to the Fabric even every 2 seconds, then you can see this on your dashboard also every 2 seconds, right? So then you don't even need the email. You have the real-time data scenario within Power BI service within the Fabric, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I will pick also the question about other real-time reporting. So this is also a good question. From my perspective, this is really, I would say this which we showed is really specific and only one of use cases for Fabric, right? The biggest Fabric use case would be the whole transformation of the architecture, right? So I can tell from my perspective that what we were doing, we were using the infrastructure with Synapse, right? So we had the Synapse database, and then we were creating reports based on the Synapse. Now we are in the process of migrating into Fabric completely. So we want to at least get rid of the Synapse and store data within lakehouses in our Fabric capacity, right? What it gives us. First of all, we have everything in the one place, but the most powerful, from my perspective, as I'm working with this now, is the direct lake mode, right? So direct lake mode allows you to create a dedicated, for example, this is our approach, dedicated semantic models for the specific area, which are then directly connected to Lakehouse. And when users are working with the reports on top of these models, you get really optimized performance because data is being read directly from the Lakehouse, right? So this would be one of the biggest advantages of Fabric.
Yeah, so basically you can create regular data warehouses or lake houses, and this is the biggest advantage of Fabric. And the thing we showed today is kind of a niche because there are not that many use cases for real-time reporting, but we wanted to show this as something interesting and maybe more catchy than a regular reporting. All right. Can the report be shared and used by other users who have lesser license? It's like Adam mentioned. It really depends on a tier of Fabric you're using, because with F64 you don't need any additional licenses to consume reports in Fabric. But if you have something smaller than that, you need either Power BI either Pro license or Premium per users. Of course, for every user who will be consuming reports. Okay, another one. And when it comes to the data transformation processes, do you handle it in Power BI or previous step? No, we you can, I mean, the most recommended approach would be to transform data with either KQL or event stream. So it goes ready into Power BI dashboards, like Adam presented in real-time dashboards. That you have a possibility to write a code specifically per tile that you will be using in a real time. So preferred scenario is to transform data first and then just display it in Power BI. Can you use only data lake with Parquet files and Spark SQL above instead of KQL database? Well, yes, you can, but to be honest, you will be losing near-time or real-time capabilities, because the delay between well, it takes some time to mirror data from event house into lakehouse. In most critical scenarios, it can take even hours. But if you want to, you can also push data directly into lakehouse, meeting event house. But in a scenario like this, you will be responsible for optimizing those tables, because in event house there's an automatic partitioning and optimization for events that comes from a source. Without that, you need to take care about it personally, because quite fast with large volume, your queries may become not efficient. Yeah, to sum this up, I will prefer this scenario to send data directly into a lakehouse in a scenario with not that much volume of data. For example, if you have a ERP system with change data capture, and what you require is more advanced analysis on this data. In a case like this, I would pick lakehouse over event house. All right, and it seems this was the last question. So I think Adam will be wrapping up. So thank you very much for attending this webinar, this event. After the presentation, you will get an email with the record of the whole presentation. And of course, if you have another questions that you didn't have a chance to ask during the presentation, you can reach out to us and we can get in touch